What's going on, everyone? What's going on, everyone? Stream ended 61 minutes ago. What? I am currently getting everything pulled up for the DELPHI hearing that's happening today, November 22nd. Bear with me here as I pull up some links. This stream just ended. I am making sure that I have the correct stream. As you are joining, please tap that like button. Today, Richard Allen is heading to Carroll County Courthouse to appear in his first major court appearance, public appearance. I think this is when they're going to be deciding if the probable cause will remain sealed or if it will be released. But this is a clip of Allen walking into the Carroll County Courthouse this morning. I believe he's wearing a bulletproof vest, is what I read. But these are the first times I'm seeing these clips as well. I got all the stuff together for the stream this morning, and I'm just now getting kind of everything turned on and links pulled up, so bear with me. Yeah, he's there. Let me find the actual stream from the courtroom. We also have, let me pull it up here, Libby's parents arriving at the courtroom.
These are grandparents.
Asking for representation.
Can you imagine what that feels like? Showing up. I mean, obviously they were there for the the press conference where they announced the arrest of Richard Allen, and that must have been the ultimate like full circle moment for, today's the day, and then finally today's that day. But to just be showing up now that at least one piece of this entire puzzle has been found, which is Richard Allen, which I think is going to lead to, and many believe, more pieces of this entire thing that are going to start coming forward. Wait. Yeah, anyways, now that this like piece has been discovered, it's like this case is going to be moving as much as it really can. I think I'm already hearing certain things about the next court date being in February. He's got like a $20 million bond potentially. I don't know if that's accurate. But things will be moving as fast as things move in the U.S. court systems. How's it going, Jennifer? Good morning to you. Lynn, hello. Lexi, Texi, good morning. Lene, hello. Angela, good to see you. Child of God, the judge did not release records. She said she will make decision at a later time. Oh, that's already good to know. Thank you. How's it going, Lady May? I'm thankful they let them go with peace and not reporters yelling questions. No bond. Wait, what? Did I say bond or bail? I don't know. Bail is set to... No. See, this is why I'm learning this in real time with you guys. I heard something about a $20 million, $20 million, but we'll see. So wait, is the press conference over? Is that what that was that ended already? Huh. Was there no cameras inside the courtroom? If anyone is aware and was watching when it was happening, let me know. Because this live stream from 26 minutes ago was just the outside of the doors. Is it over? On his exit from the building to load in the van, in comparison to all the guards, R.A. is a short man. Interesting. So it's over. That's really quick. Maybe I got the times right. I thought it was supposed to be at 9 a.m. in Delphi. Isn't that like 20 minutes ago? New court hearing in February. Okay, so it's over. So this is the reaction. I should change the title to reaction now. So I guess we can just keep reacting. I mean, here we are on this article now. This is what I was going to go into. No cameras allowed inside and phones were ordered out. Okay. So the only images of Richard Allen that we got were him walking in, and I imagine out of the courtroom as well. Oh, it was an hour ago. Thank you, Nina. I should change the title to reaction, because we're definitely not live during it. Thank you. I get mixed up with the time zones. Thank you so much. She will take it under advisement. Huh. Okay. Unsealing will just be decided. Everything's. Oh, once judge looks everything over. Oh, it lasted about 1 minute. Got canceled and moved to February. 10 minutes. Okay. Tuesday morning, the public may learn. So this is all prior, obviously. A court hearing will determine whether important documents of the case will be sealed or remain sealed, rather. Sounds like that is the case still. Wow, so this is short. I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to stream today, but this is the timeline of everything. I did want to go to Reddit real quick. I haven't had my coffee today, and I am feeling drowsy, guys. I took a couple days off of coffee just because I don't want to seem that dependent, and I am itching for my next cup, so I'm very excited about that. I wanted to try to find this Reddit thread on the Delphi Murders Reddit page before we go. I may end up not even keeping this live stream on the channel, depending on what we get into. But if you're watching the re-upload of the live stream, then we did not cover it live. But it also doesn't sound like there were cameras in there or anything like that, so there wasn't much to cover. We do know that Richard Allen is pretty short compared to all these other officers, according to Angela. The hearing was as short as Richard Allen. Yeah, he's pretty short. And usually, and not to point fingers at law enforcement, but law enforcement has a tendency to skew shorter as well. Maybe not these guys that are like guards and people that are like moving people from jail to jail or from jail to courthouse. Those guys are typically a bit bigger, but some of the street cops that I've run into are like shorter guys usually. So these officers may be an outlier here. They might just be a bit taller, but yeah, he's definitely shorter than all of them. It makes me wonder, like, how tall did they say they thought Bridge Guy was? Because I mean, it's hard to say depending on how tall these guys are, but Tiny Man, Cosmic, have some caffeine-free coffee. Placebo effect. Yeah, I don't know. I like caffeine. I like coffee. I like what caffeine does. I understand very much that it is a drug, but it is pretty much the only drug that I do, other than sometimes the occasional beverage. Steve, how's it going? Hi, good to see you. Lene, great pun, Angela. Very good. Hey, Sandy, how's it going? Fox and other reporters saying it was said in court, others involved. Wait, what? I wonder if something was worded incorrectly and it was taken out of context, but that's very interesting, Kat. Or Cosmic. Wait, who said that? Kat, yeah. Mugshots are not a good, accurate way to determine height. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, and also him wanting out while awaiting trial is just absurd. Yeah, right. This guy's not going anywhere. Oh, this is the controversial post that I did not read yet. I'm just curious. I was going to wait to read it on the next stream or video. This person on Reddit says, I don't think they have DNA evidence. If it's true that R.A. did identify himself to the police a few days after the murders to say he was on the trail that day, then isn't it possible that the police officers took his DNA along with everybody else on the trail that day, even if it was just to rule him out? as they said, they have a lot of DNA. So if they had found the perpetrator's DNA on the scene, he would have been arrested way sooner. Another theory, they have DNA evidence, but did not take a sample from him when he identified himself. Maybe if he refused or said he would come back later, if that was possible, it went unnoticed. And when fresh eyes looked at the investigation, they realized they never took the DNA of the one person that was on the trail that day. And here we are. So, and I see Nina, thank you. Bond is set for February 17th. Thank you so much. Are we really not going to hear anything else between now and February 17th? Angela also is coming in hot with the puns. Angela saying they had to reschedule. They couldn't find a step stool high enough for him to see over the podium. Angela is coming in hot on Mr. Richard Allen this morning. Love it, Angela. No hate to the short guys out there, by the way. If you're 5'6", like Taylor's saying, I'm not hating on you, but we can hate on Richard Allen because it's warranted. I'm 6'2"-ish, but I've never understood why people care so much about height, but I realize, I'm relatively tall. There's definitely a lot of people that are taller than me, but I guess if I was 5'6", I would probably be upset that I'm 5'6". So no one knows anything of what happened today. No cameras in court. Yeah, Melissa, that's what I'm beginning to hear, and I appreciate you guys popping in. I got the times completely mixed up. What time is it in Delphi, Indiana right now? Delphi, Indiana time. Okay. Wait. Oh, Delphi's on Eastern Standard Time as well? Why would I have thought that Delphi would have been Central Time Zone? Wow. Okay. I'm going to put a hat on because my hair is kind of going crazy. It is what it is. Delphi's on Eastern? Okay, we got to open up a map here, actually. We're going to go map time. I got to see where Delphi's at properly compared to... It's got to be right on the... Where does the actual time zone? Delphi's up here. I think the time zone switches over somewhere. I thought it was like in East Tennessee that it switched over. I feel like that would put Delphi. So this is why everything got totally screwed up for me. I didn't know you were that tall, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I don't think that 6'2" is wildly tall, so I've always just been kind of about my height. Someone did meet me here in Raleigh, in North Carolina, and they said the same thing. They were like, "Oh, you're taller than I thought you'd be." And I think that's how the internet works. Anytime you see somebody from the internet, they're either like way shorter than you thought they'd be, or, I don't know, way taller, or, some sort of characteristic that you just don't typically assume when you're watching on a screen. But yeah, I'm never really standing, and in this particular streaming setup, it's so bad right now. I have nothing set up. I have all my notes for my documentary, and I have crap all over the place. Even if I stood up right now, there'd be no point of reference to know oh, he's pretty tall compared to that, whatever. All right, anyways, I'm off track. I'm Nashville Central Time here too. Oh, Nashville's Central? Yeah, so weird that Delphi, Indiana must be right along that line. Huh. I'm going to look up the hold on, time zone lines. Sorry, we're going off topic here, guys. This is strange. Look at the way it creeps up into, so obviously Nashville's down here in Tennessee, and then East Tennessee, it goes into Eastern Time Zone. This is very small, I apologize, but then half of Kentucky, and then this weird thing in Indiana where half the state, it jets over to the western part of the state that makes it Eastern. So Okay. Anyways, let me go back to this Reddit page. What are you guys' thoughts on this? I know I haven't talked about this on a live stream. Do you think it's embarrassing that law enforcement talked to Richard Allen in the very early parts of this investigation, and he came forward saying, "Hey, I was there that day," and then it fell under the radar? Obviously, it could have been a moment where Richard Allen thought, "Okay, I need to just come forward because." What killer would come forward on the first few days of the investigation and say he was at you know the scene of the crime essentially? But they have this video. Did Richard not know they had the video? Because it would be one thing if he didn't see that she was recording, but like my big thing is like if he knew about the video of him walking towards them and he still confronted police and said he was there that day, like, I don't know if he looked at the video and realized like, oh, you can't even tell it's me or whatever, but it seems really, really risky for him to do that. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I know a lot of people are saying that law enforcement is kind of patting themselves on the back a bit too much because look, this could have been taken care of a lot longer ago if they had gotten DNA at the beginning. It makes me wonder, did they get his DNA in the beginning? I always wonder that about cases. Do they get DNA from people that come forward or from some of the people that they talk to, even if they're just kind of talking to them to just get a little bit more information, even if they're not like a person of interest? Because why not collect as much DNA as you possibly can, because you don't want to have to try to go back and get it. And then like this situation, if they've had it this entire time, maybe they would have been able to seal this thing up quicker. He lived 2 miles from the bridge. Yeah, Lene, let's go ahead and go to Richard Allen's address. I know a lot of you have seen this already. All right, let's open up the maps here. Yeah, he lived very, very close to the Monon High Bridge, 2 miles roughly, which is crazy. So he lived in this neighborhood down here on Whitman Drive. I believe it's this house right here specifically. Is this showing up? Yeah. There we go. What's interesting about this is this actual address. If you type in Delphi, Indiana, the border of Delphi, this red border, it's kind of hard to see. Monon High Bridge technically isn't inside that. And then this neighborhood that Richard Allen is in is technically on the outside of the Delphi border, which I find interesting. So if we actually click on his address, or which house I think is his, does it come up? It still comes up as a Delphi address, but it's interesting that it doesn't show up inside the actual border that is listed as the Delphi area on Google. But yeah, if we actually look at the map from here to the Monon High Bridge, which is just right over here, you can see it is so close. It is so ridiculously close. I know that a lot of people were saying that this Packers plant down here that apparently is responsible for many, many jobs in the Delphi area. People were saying, what if some trucker, because there's lots of trucks that pull in, trailers that pull in and out of this area. What if it was somebody that went up this road here from the plant, because that road eventually leads to right where, gosh, why is it? Stop. I don't want to click that. I don't know what just happened, but it made my whole thing totally screwy. But what if they went up this road, because this one eventually goes into the trees here. You can't see it. Yeah, right there. It's in the trees. And it goes right to the bottom underneath the bridge where the girls would have been, because their bodies were just found right over here. Because this road goes under the bridge and then around and connects to these houses over here. Like, look at this. This is that road, North 625 West. And so people always thought, and I even thought, it could have been easy to go under the bridge right there. Let me try to find Monon High Bridge Road. Maybe I can find a video of it that shows. I'll do that shortly. But either way, Richard Allen also, if he did go that direction, would have been able to just, now I don't know the exact details, but yeah, he could come out right here on 200 North and then go straight north on 625, this road right here, go underneath the bridge. He could have parked underneath here and gotten up on the bridge, and then, but that wouldn't make sense for him, coming down and meeting them on the bridge to get the shot where it was, where they filmed him. Alicia in the chat as well. We got two of the mods, Alicia and Angela. Also, Kate, good to see you. Good morning. It is an early stream. I am bad with time zones. I did not realize Delphi, Indiana was on East Coast time zone, which I am on. I thought I was tuning in just 5 minutes after the press conference started, but I turned on the stream and the press conference was over. It supposedly only lasted 10 minutes anyways. They pushed everything to February, I don't know what day, February 7th? Someone said it earlier, February 17th. So yeah, we're doing a little early morning stream right now. I don't know how much longer I'll stream, but we're here right now. So thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I think Alan hiked there through the woods if he did it. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a possibility he could have hiked through the woods. He could have parked his car still somewhere down here and hiked through the woods and gotten on the bridge some other way. My heart was always set on, the cemetery. I always have felt weird about this cemetery here because you can easily, and not easily, but you can trek through these hills to get onto the Monon High Bridge from here, and then you can go down the bridge. Obviously, the girls ended up right here, roughly, on Richard Allen's property, the edge of his property, and then he could have made a straight beeline for his car there. I've always thought that would have been the route had somebody parked in the cemetery. But yeah, he walked past the girls and came back. That's why they filmed him. That's a possibility as well. If he, we don't know exactly everything that happened. And Steve, I don't know, is that what you're assuming there, or did you hear that somewhere? But if he did park underneath this portion of the bridge, which it could be very likely considering how hidden it is. And like for these homes here, it wouldn't be unlikely for somebody to drive past these homes. It's not like there's no, homes back in this area, because if you keep driving on this road, you end up at this home. And well, I don't know if this is a home or just one of the sheds on the property, but there is another home at the end of this that, these houses wouldn't be like, wait, why is this guy driving past here? So if he did park underneath the bridge, come up on top of the bridge right here, walk past the girls, because the girls were coming from this way over here. He could have walked past the girls and then turned around to come back. And then that would cause me to maybe record on my phone if some guy kind of was turning back around on that big bridge. So I don't know, probably an ego thing, thought he was too smart for law enforcement. Oh yeah, you guys are speaking of like, why would someone come forward like that? I mean, it could be an ego thing. I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those things where he thought, who would turn themselves in at the early part of an investigation? Surely not the killer. But I'm not sure. Let me look for connecting the dots, grasping the straws theories. This is another Reddit post I'm going to quickly go through. Figured since we, for those just tuning in as well, actually, let's watch once again. This is Liberty German's family arriving at the courthouse today in Carroll County. Apparently, it was a really short hearing, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. It was quick. No bond, no bail for Richard Allen. They were talking about potentially $20 million. He's not going anywhere. He was supposedly wearing a bulletproof vest when he appeared at the courtroom. He obviously took the back entrance in. At least it appears so, in one of these vans. This is him coming in. For those who are joining a little bit late, many are commenting on Richard Allen's height compared to these officers here. Like I said, these guys are pretty big jail transfer dudes, so I assume they get their biggest and baddest guys for this. But most cops, at least in my experience, are relatively short as well. So I don't know. I think these guys are just a bit taller. Glad there's no bail. Yeah, Saleo, me as well. Don't panic, says often the perp will insert themselves and keep a close track of the case. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, yeah, that's definitely not uncommon. So it doesn't surprise me, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, they talked to him literally days, maybe even the next day. I can't remember exactly which day it was, but that's the update where we're at. Obviously, there's not any like super new information. The probable cause has still been sealed. So we're just going to keep live streaming a bit and going through some of these things, because these are some things I wanted to talk about on a previous live stream anyways. But we may as well throw it into this one. So this person on Reddit is saying, connecting the dots and grasping the straws. Well, after the last PC until today, I'm one of the longtime followers who are looking back over current and former interviews with law enforcement / DC to get an impression of how long they had RA on their radar. I am grasping for straws, glimpsing at phrases or comments which might give room for interpretation, because we are still confused when they pull that RA rabbit monster out of the hat, aren't we? I know a lot of people feel unfulfilled in the Delphi case. I came across a few Reddit posts that said, why doesn't this feel better that we have what we think is, or what they think is Bridge Guy? But I think it's because there's still a lot of details that haven't come out, obviously, but also there's a lot of people that really think there's other key players in this. And so it doesn't feel fully, not connected, but it doesn't feel like everything has fully been out there yet to really think about. So yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, kind of, I think. For one thing, I noticed that the correction to the FBI poster circa March 2022. At that time, the FBI was asked to make the change. They're doing this at the request of Indiana State Police, so the public will focus on the sketch, picture, and voice recording. This felt strange at the time, but now reasonable. And then there is the recent interview of DC at Hammer plus Nigel. The DC slipped out that in retrospect, they would have been better off following their ABC instead of DE. He speaks about tentacles. Oh, yeah. Okay. That speaks, yes, to the 2019 press conference. So this person is definitely grasping at the straws, like they're saying, just trying to figure out, did they have, Richard Allen on their radar? I don't think they did, because if they did, they would have referenced his previous, it sounds like since they talked to him early in the beginning, he went off of their radar, and then they came back to him and they're like, oh crap, what about this guy? I think that they knew that it was, or they had a very high likelihood that it was somebody in Delphi. They spoke a lot to the public through their press conference interviews, right at the lens, saying, we will find you. You may even be in this room, those kinds of things. Not direct quotes, but something along those lines. I think that they were on to the general public in that way, but I don't want to spread anything wrong, but just to see if there are any sentences that appear in a different light with the current information. Please let me know if your findings and arguments. Sorry. Okay. Have you seen the fusion of the two sketches? It gives me headaches, but it really seems like they were right when they said that the suspect will probably look like both sketches melted together. Yeah, that is a good point. I have not seen them melted together, but just looking at them side by side, it's Richard Allen. Sincere regards to the families. So that was okay. I'm just wanting to go through some of the Reddit posts here. Saleo, didn't they have DNA from the crime scene? Didn't they compare Allen's? Well, I'm sure at some point they did. That's where the previous Reddit post that I just did prior to this one says that they don't think they have DNA evidence. This is what this person's opinion is, obviously. They're saying if it is true that Richard Allen identified himself a few days after the murders to say he was on the trail, then isn't it possible that police officers took his DNA along with everyone else that day, even if it was just to rule him out? Because if they did have DNA at the crime scene, on the bodies, wherever, if you've got somebody that's at your crime scene that day that comes forward, you get their DNA. So now this person is questioning whether or not they have solid DNA evidence to begin with. So there's a whole mess of things there as well. If they really have minimal DNA, how do you do what this person did without leaving DNA? I don't know. And we don't even know the exact details. We only have, speculation on how the bodies were found, but it sounds pretty brutal. So I don't know. And Saleo says maybe they forgot to take his. That's another thing that would be incredibly embarrassing. Maybe they do have heaps of DNA at the crime scene, on the bodies, around the bodies, whatever the case may be. And they forgot to take Richard Allen's DNA when they found him. Imagine that. Imagine that if they have to come forward and say that they failed to get his DNA. Tobe failed to get Richard Allen's DNA when he came in for an interview. I think there's DNA. I think that's also why they're so sure. Well, yeah, so that's another thing. Alicia, I think that they are so sure now because of the DNA, but how bad would it be if they didn't get Richard's DNA that day, knowing he was there? That, to me, that would be bad police work, because it's like, going forward, law enforcement needs to know if somebody comes forward and they admit that they were at your crime scene, or at pretty much your crime scene, saying he was on the bridge that day. I mean, the girls walked across the bridge that day. You get that guy's DNA. That's a huge issue. And that would look really bad for law enforcement. They would have to do a little less patting themselves on the back. And I think that could be the case. Maybe they didn't get his DNA that day. And they have all the DNA now to compare it, and they are sure that it's him, but it was just not going to look good in the long run. But who knows? It's only speculating. There was another... let's just read this one real quick. This is another Reddit post. This is from 10 days ago, shortly after everything happened. Hold on. He is walking with a limp like BG. If person does not volunteer DNA, law enforcement would need probable cause for search warrant to... Well, couldn't law enforcement just ask, hey, would you be willing to give your DNA? And then if someone says, yeah, I think a person, if they don't volunteer, they would need that. But if a person was asked and they denied it, then they could certainly try to get a warrant for that. But law enforcement would probably just be like, okay, well, why are you denying it if you have nothing to do with it? So if it would all, I think it would all matter depending on how they asked, and if they asked and he denied. But yeah, if he didn't volunteer and they didn't ask, I mean, I'm sure he didn't give it, but I wonder if Allen is the person Carter always had in mind. He knew who it was. He said he just didn't have enough evidence. I don't know. I think if they had... It just depends on how they had to process the evidence. Maybe that there's way more that we don't know, obviously. But if they had DNA from the scene and he had an idea that he thought it was Carter this whole time, I would imagine they would have found a way to get him in there and get his DNA sooner. So I don't know. A lot of moving parts with this case, that's for sure. All right, longtime lurker here. The posters here usually have great insights, and I thought I'd throw out a few random thoughts out here and get everyone's impressions/opinions. This is just a random Reddit thread I came across. I think some of us have a hard time totally discounting that TK or KK don't have a peripheral role in this. For me, it's terrifying to think that this innocent girl was being groomed and then victimized by two predators. The rumors kegging said he was supposed to meet her there that day but didn't show just seems fishy. Plus, I believe they are postponing his, meaning KK's, trial, and one of the options for doing that is him assisting prosecution. As far as Richard Allen's wife, I can't help but feel she is at least partially a victim too. Absolutely. The descriptions of her posts on Facebook make her seem like a woman who adored her husband. I can't help but think about Ted Bundy's ex-girlfriend who submitted his name to the police, but it took years for her to finally accept that the love of her life was a killer, and it was a constant internal struggle even after. Psychopaths and sociopaths are adept to wearing a mask of sanity. Crazy. I'm sure any odd behavior she noticed around the time of murders she would have attributed to his struggle with alcohol. Nobody wants to think they've married and created a family with a monster who killed 2 innocent children. Also curious about what they were digging for in his yard. If the DNA they found at the murder site, I can see them digging up a family pet that passed away, or maybe they were able to locate and dig up the trophies he kept. Because that's another thing. Apparently, things were taken from the scene. I'm not sure of much because most details of the case are thus far unreleased, but I am convinced of these 2 things. The murders of these 2 girls may have been discussed in detail, but they have said it was horrific. May never have been discussed in detail. I'm pretty sure this points to a sexual homicide. I'm not entirely sure here. Aren't necessarily a homicide for sexual nature. Assuming this was a sexual homicide, I fully believe the killer still has the trophies he took. Trophies are key to the perp being able to fantasize and relive his crime. That's another thing. If he just say that they don't have his DNA, but he has a piece of clothing or something from the victims, Abby or Libby, that connects him to it entirely. Assuming this was possessions. I have been aware of this case for a while and reading this sub for over a year. It is wonderful to see a group of people dedicated not only getting justice for these children and keeping their memories, but keeping their memories alive. I don't know. I think that the Reddit thread for Delphi has been pretty solid. I enjoy going through here. And then, of course, Murder Sheet mentioned that the old tips are the ones that brought Alan back into the spotlight, supposedly. Today's episode say they can confirm that someone involved with the investigation was going through an old tips, came across some old tips/documentation that made them think he needed a second look. Yikes. Can't imagine how she feels. Yeah, exactly. Because of the things he has said, because he knew his DNA wasn't taken from his original interview, he just sounds like he knows. That's just my opinion, obviously. Yeah. I want to know how his family didn't recognize the clothes on BG in the picture. You know, that is a good question, Ty. Let's just go ahead and look once again at BG. Okay. I mean, it depends on how much of a crime was this seriously planned? How far in advance was this planned? Because this guy could have gone to the Goodwill and snagged a jacket a month or 2 before this that he kept in his truck or in his car or something that his family never saw him in. Who knows? He could have... Yeah, I don't know. It makes me wonder because I haven't been able to see anyone pull up any other clothing, any other photo with him with this exact jacket on. But yeah, at least just thrift store clothing. Wouldn't Carter have fought for a DNA sample? I don't know. Maybe they thought enough evidence to make him give his DNA. His wife had a video with him in the jacket. Ty, really? His wife has a video of him with this same exact jacket? Okay, I'm going to look for that right now. I don't know. I mean, a blue jacket and jeans. The thing is, if he frequented that place often and it was so close to their house, and then, you know, he shows up, my wife would be able to tell, hey, that's you for sure. Although I wear, like, some of the jackets that I wear are very distinguished. Like, you can definitely tell that that's me. You know, dark blue jacket and, you know, baggy jeans. Like, that's pretty standard. But yeah, it makes me wonder if his wife ever had any suspicions. Yes, feel free to Twitter me the video, Ty. Thank you so much, or the picture. I will wait for that, and then we'll check that out. We'll maybe stream for an hour today. I know we're not really getting anywhere with this. Maybe let's just see if we can go back to any reports from WTHR from outside the courtroom. Bob Siegel, WTHR. Biggest news that came out of this morning's hearing about sealed records in the Delphi murder case is this statement by prosecutor. We believe Richard Allen is not the only actor involved in this. What? So that's a legit thing? Someone was saying that earlier. I'm sorry I glossed over that. Wow. So yeah, that says it right there. That buys them more time. Hey guys, we don't believe he's the only actor involved in this. Actor. Interesting. I mean, that's huge. Wow. Steve says Carter acted like they have a strong case. Wow. Catherine, yes, I did share the video of him going into court a little bit ago. I show it here and there, but yeah, I'll throw it up right here. This is Richard Allen going into court earlier this morning, Carroll County. Wow, so craziness. Prosecutors say Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen may have had an accomplice. Oh, defense attorney. Hold on. We got his defense attorney live, I believe.
Without talking about the facts, tiptoeing around the facts is going to be impossible. That's another really terrific reason why these documents need to be unsealed.
In America, you don't have to prove that somebody's the wrong guy. They have to prove he's the right guy. Could you just elaborate on why you say he's the wrong guy?
Well, again, I'm early on in this case. I've looked my client in the eye, and he's looked me in the eye, and he's told me what he's told me. I'm innocent. Thank you for helping me out. And we'll see what the evidence looks like. The PCA, the probable cause affidavit, we are not impressed.
Can you tell us more about what the prosecutor said regarding a second person who might be involved?
Well, that was news to us. So whoever was in that room listening to the prosecutor talk about a second person, that's news to us. I got to tell you, I don't know a whole lot about this case. I'm learning and learning and learning. There's people.
Whoa.
We're getting lots of information from lots of people across the country, especially.
Tyler, we're going to go back to you.
Tyler, we're back at you.
And again, that was the defense attorney, one of the defense attorneys for Richard Allen. You heard him mention there that he said that he believes that his client is innocent. And not only that, he says that his client is confused on how exactly he is involved in this and why police say he is the person who killed Abigail Williams and Liberty German. No doubt this is something that we will continue to monitor. But this is, again, more than 5 years that we're talking about here. This all started back in February of 2017 when police say Allen actually saw Abby and Libby on the Monon High Bridge, asked them to go down the hill. We remember that video and that audio recording where you could hear somebody who, again, police are saying was Allen, asking the girls to go down the hill. And then after that, there was the initial sketch, and then a couple years later, a vastly different sketch of a suspect who police, again, are now saying is Richard Allen. So this is something that we will continue to monitor. But Krista, I noticed while out here there were so many people who again, came from all over the area. Before we tossed to that interview, I'd mentioned the one man from Monticello who said he's just interested in this. He wanted to see what exactly happened. He said that he was hoping that Judge Gohl would decide to allow the probable cause affidavit.
Wow, yeah, that's not coming out, at least right now. But wow, so that was his defense attorney. He said that they're not impressed with the probable cause. Guys, this is crazy. I want to know so bad. His family is in danger if he gives names. This is my opinion, of course, based on following these rings and how they work. Seems very typical. Let's be honest, there's no way this was random. It was planned. They had to be lured there somehow. Exactly. I mean, I'm not to say that Abby and Libby didn't want to just go out on a hike at the bridge. It seemed like a place that people and kids liked to go, but like with just everything that we know about this case and their communication with Anthony Schatz and just everything with this case, it's like it seems like they were there to meet somebody that ended up not being the person they thought. They were freaked out at one point or another. They started filming. This seems like such an orchestrated event that went on. I hope he's not a scapegoat for the double homicide. Justin says Northwest Indiana is on the same time zone as Chicago. Oh, I think you're back further in the stream, Justin. But yeah, I'm aware of that now. That's pretty funny that I was completely off. Even with video, criminals deny. Yeah, that's another thing. He could be just absolutely denying, and that could be the case. But who knows? I mean, obviously he's probably going to deny. But these are the videos, or the stills that Ty sent us. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is him in the same jacket? It's hard to say if this is the exact jacket that Bridge Guy was in. Hard to say. I mean, it's definitely like blue. It's dark blue. But I don't know if that's the exact same one. It definitely could be. Definitely could be. It kind of looks collared here. It's hard to say. People request certain things. If someone provides what they want, big money. The worse the pics and the vids, more money. This was the same year his daughter got married. Seemed to always have money issues. Interesting. No worries. Yeah, I know what video you're talking about, Ty, because she kind of comes up to him and he kind of freaks out and he like closes whatever he's reading. I didn't know that's the one you were referring to, but yeah, thank you for sending me that. Appreciate it. I do think it's him, but I think someone else was waiting for them or others maybe. Yeah. Without a doubt, Hillary, I think that it's just so hard for me to believe that this wasn't multiple, at least two people connected that were aware of what was going down. This is many hours ago outside the courthouse in the early part of the morning. Heavy law enforcement presence outside courthouse. Multiple officers patrolling, one dog sniffing vehicles, trash cans. Wow. Pretty crazy. Because, guys, we have an active, what I imagine is still considered an active investigation that's ongoing in this case. So you've got people that could be showing up to the courtroom or lurking around the courtroom that could be connected to this in some way. So you've got dogs that are potentially scent tracing based on evidence that they have, multiple people or a person that they could be trying to track down. Who knows? Crazy to think that they are still potentially just like, I mean, they obviously said that the tip lines are still open. They're leaving no stone unturned. And there could be somebody lurking around the courthouse just trying to sneak a peek at what's going on. Wild. All right, let's see. I think TK was waiting down the hill. They both took one each. Wow. And that's another thing, Angela. That's a good point that you make. you know, I think a lot of people at the beginning of this, me included, had talked about controlling two victims at the same time, controlling two people at the same time. Even two girls of their age are going to be able to put up a fight. And you don't know people's backgrounds either. Like, I mean, hold on. I think he's done before. I think he's done this before for sure. Possibly. You know, these girls could have immediately started putting up a fight. Imagine he had a gun. This is my theory of, like, if he had a gun or a weapon of some sort and was using it to control them, like, hey, go down the hill, you know, or head this way, head that way, whatever. If it was just one guy, and then eventually it turned into them attacking him or running or attempting to get away, then things could go south very quickly. And then he starts killing them at that point. That's why I've always thought, well, why are the bodies between the bridge and the cemetery? Maybe that's where things turned south. Or maybe that's where they just decided to put the bodies because it's far away from the road, and he went back down the road to the vehicle. So imagine a vehicle right here under the Monon High Bridge. He takes them down the hill in this direction, across the water, and then this is where the deed is done. This is where it gets violent. That's far away now from where he could have been potentially parked, and then he could have exited, or they, or, you know, whoever, to the south, back to either his house or wherever. In my head, I always thought, oh, he was trying to get them back to the cemetery if he tried, you know, if he parked there. That was all speculation, obviously, but, and then maybe this is where they fought back and then things went south. Steve, don't think he'd go kill someone in his favorite jacket. Yeah, I don't know. Angela, he would have had scratches or something. He could have taken both girls on himself. He couldn't have. Yeah. I think there's a high likelihood that, yeah, there was another person down the hill waiting there, and there's another person involved for sure. For sure. That's all my head tells me. That's what I have in my head, that's how it went down. Looks very similar, if not the jacket. Interesting. Dog and gun could be enough. It's just horrifying to think about. Absolutely horrifying. Is there a time for the hearing? February 17th. February 17th is it got pushed to the 17th of February. So I don't know if anything will happen between now and then, but we will just have to see. Okay, so latest. Yeah, so the judge is releasing the documents at a later date. Cool. Don't think he'd go kill someone in his favorite jacket. Got that. Someone is waiting down the hill. Yep. Too bad the same can't be done for him. He deserves much worse. Seeing the walking path and the hill seems not easy to get down for him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's in the best shape of his life by any means, but I don't know. And that's another thing. Imagine this guy, you know, beer gut and all, telling them to go down the hill, and he slips. Even if he had, a knife, maybe it's not a gun, he had a knife. This guy slips and falls onto his butt. Like, I'd be running, right? And so that's where I'm just thinking maybe he turned them down the hill, said, hey, down the hill, and there's one or another, you know, there could be multiple people down there, but at least one person just waiting there in a car. And that's another thing. Maybe they were trying to not just kill them, but take them away from this specific location. That wouldn't be too terribly hard if they could get them in the car to leave, probably without being detected by security cameras and such. So maybe there was a guy at the bottom of the hill waiting by the car that was parked underneath the bridge, and that's where things went super south, and there was a serious fight that happened there, and then the bodies were essentially taken to where they were ended up being found. Now, I don't know whether they've specified that the fight took place where they were found And maybe for the most part, they were kind of fought underneath the bridge, and they were, easily able to be kind of dragged or like helped up to where they ended up being found. Not helped, but I don't know. They could have been stabbed or something, and then they were being kind of walked/dragged. I don't know. There's too many things to think about, but pretty crazy. Was one of the children really decapitated? I read that right after it happened, but I don't know. Sierra, I do not know specifics. I know that there's been so many different rumors about things with the stomach being cut open, as horrible as that sounds. I've definitely heard many things. I've heard something about the younger of the two being that she was almost decapitated. Oh, it would be so hard to hit a target if they ran away, not in a straight line. I will say the audio down the hill, he sounds so close, so he could be holding them with a gun against their backs. Yeah, anything like that for sure. The audio down the hill definitely doesn't sound echoey and far, and it sounds like he's up close to them at that point. I agree. But yeah, so the timeline of events, guys. I mean, remember, look at Ron Logan. He's no longer here. I know that they're looking into everybody at this point. Police release audio. God, this is crazy. Crazy. But yeah, I agree, Alicia. It would be hard to hit somebody. People don't realize shooting somebody unless they're, even if you're a good shot, if somebody's running and things have all of a sudden gotten really out of hand, and there's especially if there's two people running, maybe in different directions, and there are trees around, like it can be difficult to shoot somebody. So, yeah, I don't know what happened though. I think possibly a knife or a gun held at their back, and then when they saw that there was another guy waiting to take them, then they fought. Yeah, Nina, I think you're onto something there. I think they know the other person involved, but don't have the evidence yet to arrest them. Leslie, I think that is a possibility. I think that especially with what they know, possibly through someone like a Kagan Klein, who, once again, a lot of his charges have been dropped, but that's not to say that people affiliated with him might not be connected as well. We know through Tony that supposedly, through Kagan, because he threw Tony under the bus, he let his dad use his phone and get on his own Snapchat all the time, and he had at least admitted to that. And so I don't know if that was to throw the blame off of him, but if it's true that Kagan was just allowing other people to access his social media accounts, the accounts that were communicating with people like Abby and Libby under false profiles, who knows how many other people he was talking to? Who knows if it was even Kagan that was using those accounts at the time that did communicate with the girls prior? And so, yeah, I think that they possibly know through someone like Kagan Klein, who's sitting in jail right now, who could have had his phone at the time. He may have said, hey, this guy had my phone at the time. It wasn't even me that talked to the girls, or, whatever. Who knows? But I think that there is a possibility of that. Maybe they just don't have the evidence. I can imagine, though, if they do have somebody in mind, they are keeping a very close eye on that person or persons. I think one of them was punched and knocked out. Who knows? I think they know each other. It was a blitz attack on both of them, probably. God, it's horrible to think about. I would love to see the interrogation as well. And that's another thing. Like, you see on YouTube all the time, these interrogation videos. I can't wait for this one to come out. I cannot wait to see Richard Allen being interrogated. I hope that that's something that we can watch someday. They also have Richard's devices now to search. Exactly. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what kind of data that they can pull from his phone. People that he was in communication with, so on and so forth. I don't know, pretty wild. Well, I don't know if there's really much else to say. I mean, this is the biggest takeaway from today, and I apologize to the person who dropped this in the comments saying that they said this in the courtroom. I didn't know that there were videos in the courtroom. I don't know where this got leaked out, or who actually broke this news from the courtroom. But this is arguably one of the biggest takeaways from today, is that prosecutor says Richard Allen may not have acted alone. Defense calls evidence flimsy. I mean, those are two huge things there. Obviously, the defense is probably going to say whatever he can say, but the fact that they're saying he may not have acted alone is huge, because we all thought that. Martha, off topic. Do you use a different software for Google Maps or the regular functionality on website? I just use typically Google Maps. Typically just use good old Google Maps. I use the functionality of right-clicking and hitting measure distance to measure distance from places. I like Google Maps a lot. You can click around and measure things. You can hit control and look at things from kind of different angles. I like Google Maps a lot. Depending on the city you're in, it'll show things in 3D as well, which is nice. Like, let's go to Miami, where I used to live. Refresh. Cool, black screen. Wonderful. Just when I want to show Martha something, Google Maps fails me. But anyways, Google Maps is good. Info isn't just on our devices. I don't know why they act like they need the device to see internet activity. Yeah, I mean, they at this point would likely have enough to get a warrant to access his phone company's records and pull that stuff from, say Verizon or something like that. I think that they could probably pull all of his call records, everything dating back to even prior to the murders. So with this, depending on the probable cause and everything that they have with Richard Allen, they can probably get so much stuff that's not even just from the actual device itself, right? Because yeah, I mean, even just the other day, I went into Verizon to look up some stuff on my account from a past bill that was messed up, and they were able to go back and see just everything in terms of even payment history. All of that is recorded, documented, and that is great. I love that. I don't know that some people are talking about, protecting your information. Look, if it's going to save somebody's, if I wind up murdered someday and somehow they're able to pin it back on somebody that called me and said, hey, this, show up here, then if it can solve something like that, then by all means, I'm all for it. Wonder if they have a cell tower location dump info as well against him. I don't know, maybe. But the thing is, he admitted to being in that location. So, I mean, he probably did ping on their towers in that location. He probably knew also, oh crap, they're going to be able to ping me here and put me here. And he probably just tried to get out ahead of them by turning himself in and saying, hey, I was there, but I'm not the guy. Yeah, Nina, there's no way. I imagine this guy has done other horrific things as well. Interesting, from the murder sheet. Oh, that's Tony Klein. God, Tony Klein kind of looks like the guy as well, huh? I've always thought that. Surgery tomorrow, darn foot. That's TK getting surgery. I know a lot of people were hot on his trail. I mean, me included. If it's a ring, it's not their first. If just Allen could be his first. Back in the good old days, you used to be able to read text messages on your account. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's crazy. Oh, man. That's back in the day. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it. I am working on the documentary today. I am essentially done with the documentary. So for those of you who have followed my channel for a while now, I know it's the only thing I've typically been talking about, that I've been primarily talking about, but I have one or two small things to add to the documentary, but for the most part, the documentary is done. I have to send it off to get transcribed. I have to get captions all made so other languages can read it. I'm getting it transcribed, I think, in English and Spanish, and then other platforms, I think, will do some form of transcribing, but I have to pay to get it transcribed. So that's something soon that I have to do, as in like today or tomorrow. And then I have to, just polish up a lot of other things. So the documentary is essentially done. I will be able to say more soon, but just dealing with a lot of the little logistical things that come along with it, like licensing music, which to the people that joined the fundraising stream way back in April, end of April, I have everybody's name still from that. And that is, those names will be going in the behind the scenes that I eventually put out, thanking everybody for their contributions. Essentially, I'm going to put probably every person's name that's ever donated to the channel, not just during the live stream. I have access to all that info, which is good. So I'll probably just go through my YouTube super chat analytics and just put everyone's name at some point, because even like Saleo and some of the people that are here that have become members for any amount of time, all of that is going towards the documentary. And so anyways, fundraiser was fun. Yeah, Deb, someone messaged me the other day and emailed me and said to do another fundraiser. And we'll just have to see, because I still have a lot of licensing fees to pay for. But it is what it is. All good, Alice, all good. Thank you so much for even the thought. But that's it. I'm going to go. This was the stream this morning. I know that I didn't cover probably everything I could have covered. I'm kind of out of it this morning. I kind of just like threw myself into it thinking that I was on time, and then I realized I'm an hour late. So to the people that stuck around and hung around with me this morning, thank you. I'll probably still leave this up as a re-upload that people can watch. But February 17th, I guess, is what we will be waiting for. Until then, we will keep an eye out for any and all updates, but maybe they will bring somebody else's name forward between now and February 17th that they think is involved. That could be huge. So we'll stay up to date for sure. Angela, we'll just have to see. So, all right. I think that's it. Okay. Kudos. Thank you so much. Kudos fundraiser. LOL. Did he go back to jail? Okay, guys, I'm going to go. Sorry. I could keep going all day. I'll see you guys in the next one. If 4 people could hit the like button on the way out, we will hit 100. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.